Hey guys, Rix here, and today the day has finally come. So, as you guys may or may not know based upon what's in front of you, we have finally received the Minifig Co. Deck Crew pre-order. So this was supposed to be a 2 to 3 week pre-order, I believe back in March. It is now the middle of July and I have finally received my deck crew. So that's obviously, I think it's about 4 months in total that elapsed between my ordering and actually receiving them. Now, they said that the initial pre-order would be 2 to 3 weeks, so if we subtract it off the time, this pre-order was about over 3 months late. Now, I'm not going to fault TMC necessarily for being late. I think that the one thing that TMC was lacking a little bit on in this process was transparency and communication. You know, a lot of people pre-ordered these figs. Some people did get them within, I'd say, 3 to 4 weeks. However, there was a significant portion, I'd say likely about half of the people who ordered these did not get them until very recently, which was, as I said, about 3 months after the promised delivery date. Now, I think that the big issue with this is that there just wasn't communication about it. As I said, if they had simply made announcements saying why stuff was delayed, I know that they did make some brief announcements every now and then, but there wasn't kind of a comprehensive explanation, which I think was somewhat warranted considering the high price of this product and considering the promised initial delivery date. All in all, though, we did eventually receive the product, which is, of course, what you're hoping. It did just come late. So with that rant aside, why don't we jump right into the product itself? As you can see, I got one of each of the deck crew figures. So essentially I got one of each color, which I think should be pretty easy to see based upon your eyes. I don't think I need to explain that I got one of each color when you can clearly see it. So as you can see in front of you, we have a blue, we have a purple, we have a green, a yellow, a red, a brown, and a white. Now, I'm not going to try and pretend to profess like I know what jobs these guys did specifically. I know that there are some of my subscribers and followers who do know this. So if you know what each job did, you can go ahead and let me know below. And I know that you can also simply look up what each job did, and then you can find it out pretty simply on Google. So I think that, why don't we go over the big differences between the three figures first. So I think that one thing that you immediately notice in difference between some of these guys is that we have some different flesh tones. So as you can see on the left here, we have a reddish brown flesh tone. In the middle, we have a light flesh. And then on the left, we have kind of a medium flesh tone. So I think that in this order, I had 7 deck crew figures. And in all, I got 2 reddish brown, 2 medium flesh, and then 3 light flesh, which I felt like was a pretty good distribution of all of the different flesh tones. Now, the next thing that was, kind of the variation that you could have gotten was the difference in these pants colors and designs. So as you can see, this first one, we kind of have a gray pant design. And then similar to this one, we also have a dark tan, very simple, not very complicated, just kind of a pants that they would wear. Now, the more complicated pants that you could have gotten were these Woodland camo pants, as you can see right here, which I think look pretty awesome. They essentially have the same pocket designs, I believe, on the sides as the other pants. The big difference is just, of course, that they have this Woodland camo. And so all in all, I got 3 of the Woodland camo. I got 2 of the dark tan, and then I got 2 of the, I believe that's dark bluish gray. So I guess finally what we can do is essentially go over one of these figures in detail. So why don't we do the green, since that one is brightly colored. As you can see on the front, we have the writing on their vest along with the identifying marks, which are, it's very obvious when a person is working on the deck crew based upon at least the photos that I've seen. I think that it's fairly easy to spot them, especially with that helmet and with kind of the uniform that they wear. I think both of those things are pretty, they stand out a lot from other uniforms that might be present on a ship. Now moving on to the side, what we can see here, let me get something to move this stand up a little bit. There we go, he's a little bit higher. Let me do it one more time, actually. We'll get him even higher so you guys can see it in closer detail. So here we go. If we can get it to focus on the side of the figure, and we can fix the light. As you can see here, the vest goes all the way around, of course, with that 360-degree printing, and then it continues onto the back where we have additional vest details. If I can get the light to focus on it, as you can see here. And then of course the vest again continues 360 degrees around the torso. As you can see, the arms are relatively simple. They just have kind of, I guess it's crease marks from where the uniform might be creased, and then just some cuff marks. I think that the front of the uniform is really where it takes the cake. I know that Brickmania has a version of this, and I actually don't have it, so I don't have it for comparison, but I honestly think that this TMC one looks really nice. The thickness of the lines is very good, especially for a figure like this, and I think that all in all, the design works very well together. I think that one other thing that you have to note about the TMC figures are these awesome heads. So as you can see here, this is a light flesh version, kind of printed on that dark tan headpiece. And then of course, here is the helmet standalone. I believe it is 3D printed, and I think that TMC said that in the future it will be injection molded. So that's pretty awesome that they're creating their own, not products, but their own, what would you call it? Their own accessories, I guess we can call it that, their own helmets. So I think that the one big flaw that I saw with these characters was the coloring, or I guess we could say the printing of the helmets. So I found that on essentially every single one of these, there were slight errors, I guess. I don't even know if I want to call them errors. There are slight alignment issues. So on the first one here, you can pretty clearly see that on the bottom right of the minifigure, or on our left, you can see that the green pretty significantly goes over the printing base of where it was supposed to. As you can see on this side, it does not go over, and it clearly goes over on this side. So I think that's a pretty clear alignment issue. So that's on the green figure. Now we move on to the purple figure. Again, some small alignment issues, this time on the left minifigure, or our right side, and then nothing much on the top. But I do have to say that it's a little odd. I'm sure it's due to the printing capabilities, but it seems like this back color print was misaligned. As you can see on the bottom, it is a 6, or how many sides would this be? It's an 8-sided rectangle, not a rectangle, it's an 8-sided shape. Let's just go with shape that was printed here, but it doesn't quite go to the top as you might expect it to, which if I use this musket right here, the top should be right there. As you can see, there's that kind of bolt that's left uncovered, which I think realistically likely should be covered by the print. So that's, again, a small alignment issue. Now, if we move on to the blue guy, I think we don't see much alignment issues on the front. And again, though, on the back, what you can see is that for some reason, our top left is clearly, it covers that bolt, but then this top right, I don't know what happened here, doesn't really cover it. Moving on to yellow, what we can see on this yellow figure, if I can get it to focus, is that it seems all fine. The paint or the printing, whatever they did, just looks a little bit bumpy. That might be due to the 3D printed nature of the item. And then again, on the back, it's just slightly misaligned in that top right corner. Moving on to the white figure, what we can see is some print or some paint has already chipped off the top of this helmet. So that's not so great considering it, it reveals that dark town below, but there's no alignment issues. So that's a plus. However, once you get to the back, I think that you can pretty clearly see this alignment issue as it doesn't cover this full back pad area. We just have 2 more to look at. So here we have the brown one, pretty awesome alignment on the front, except for the bottom. As you can see, it doesn't fully cover that dark tan 3D printed piece. So it looks almost like it was hand painted and unfinished. I don't know how to describe it. You guys might have a better way to describe it. And finally, the back I think is actually pretty well covered on this guy, except for the bottom there. You can see a pretty clear line. Finally, we move on to the red figure. So as you can see, there's a pretty clear dark tan gap here in the printing on the bottom of this front. Now, I don't know if this is necessarily due to an alignment issue with the printing, as I've been thinking it is, or whether possibly this is due to the rough nature of a 3D print that doesn't exactly get correct shapes. I feel like it's likely more an alignment and printing issue than a 3D printing issue, but you guys can go ahead and let me know what you guys think. And then if we look at the back, this one is pretty perfect alignment, so no complaints from me there. So all in all, I'm very satisfied with the product I received. However, I think that it would be incorrect and remiss of me to not say that I'm heavily disappointed with the timeline that it took. I know that TMC gave us, I think it was maybe 2 updates over the course of those 4 months about what was actually delaying the product, and specifically it was the helmets and the printing of the helmets. I think that mainly delayed these. So it was nice to finally see those updates when we got them, but they weren't very forthcoming about the reasoning why those things were delayed, other than the fact that they were delayed. As I said in the beginning of the video, I would have loved to hear more and just to have more transparency from TMC about why this product was so heavily delayed, and at least essentially more public acknowledgement that they didn't really meet their own deadline for the pre-order that they set. I think that in the future, what this tells me is that it's likely not the smartest to pre-order something like this if I want it immediately. You know, I did want this a while ago to do a review, and I had planned to buy some Brickmania versions to compare, but this version simply took too long to get delivered to my house that I didn't end up buying the Brickmania versions, and I feel like at this point it's just kind of too far gone from when they was first initially released to create a video that you guys all like and that I'm excited about. So I think that all in all, this product is great, except for those alignment issues that I showed you, mainly on the helmet. The body, or should I say the torso and the legs have perfect printing, really awesome. I'm very satisfied with that. The bright colors, I mean, they look like Skittles. I've heard some people refer to these guys as, and I think that they really look awesome and are gonna look great in a display. And they'll look great in a diorama once I get my Brick Veteran Alien Hunter. As I said, those alignment issues, those are, you know, I feel like it's forgivable because this is the first time TMC has worked with this 3D printed product, but it's still disappointing. So things can be both, should I say, forgivable and disappointing. And of course, the 4-month wait for a product that was supposed to be 2 or 3 weeks of pre-order is not ideal. But other than that, I don't really think I have anything else to add. I know that this video has already been substantially longer than my normal haul and minifig review videos, so I apologize if it was too long for some of you, and I thank you if you've made it this far, of course. As always, guys, like, comment, subscribe to learn more stuff, and I'll catch you next time.